An insecure man is a dangerous man. At the beginning of this year, I was in a completely different situation. I was in a relationship with the evil Satanist for 3 years, guys. He cheated on me. He beat it on me, damn near. He kicked me out of our house multiple times, locked me out of the house in the middle of the night. He crashed my car. Hey guys, welcome back to Monday Scaries, where I publicly expose my private drama and thoughts. My name's Madeline, and that's all I have to say for now. Guys, 2025 this year has been a fucking shit show for me. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a mess. And I like to think I'm pretty resilient. I like to think I bounce back pretty quickly. I do bounce back pretty quickly. But this year, it was like hit after hit after hit after hit. Like I could not just have any sort of peace. I thought I was smooth sailing and then boom, some shit happened. And I know I don't have it as bad as some people do, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like my life is so hard, but God, like I really went through some stuff. And I know I'm a strong person, but I feel like I can admit that this year was just it was hard. It wasn't my hardest year that I've had, and I'm sure there will be harder years, hopefully not, but I'm sure there will be. So, yeah, but this one was just like it was a lot. It was a lot. I keep saying online that this year is like the year of the snake, and it was like all about shedding and death and rebirth, which, if you know anything about me, I love the idea of death and rebirth because I have lived so many lives. I've gone through so much at such a young age, and I'm different every few years, every few months at that. So I do think it's beautiful. I think transformation is beautiful, but usually at my own hands, not so much in the universe's hands or in God's hands, whoever's controlling me in my life. I've been saying everywhere that 2025 is the year of the snake, which explains probably why my life this year has been so hectic, and why I have lost so many relationships and friends and jobs, honestly. Um, the way I have. So if you're in the same position as me, just keep that in mind. I find it really beautiful and kind of comforting because I am a big fan of the idea of death and rebirth as I have lived multiple lives in my short 21 years. So I identify with that, and I find it comforting. But if you had a hard year, hopefully you can find some comfort in that too. And also, technically, 2026 is supposed to be a much better year, the year of the horse, new beginnings, hard work, and things are really going to start lining up and falling into place. From my understanding, I'm not an astrologist. I think that's what it's called. I don't know, but it's just what I keep seeing. So I'm going to spread the news with you. This year in my life, I had a very heavy theme of, again, shedding friendships and relationships and things that weren't fitting me in my life. So most of these lessons that I'm going to share with you have to do with that kind of thing, but you can apply them to all aspects of your life. And some of these things you may feel like you have heard before, but I feel like I really can offer you a new point of view. So I'm going to stop talking now and we're going to get to my lessons, okay? The first lesson I learned this year is something that I actually heard from one of my friends my freshman year of high school, and I have always constantly been thinking about it, but I didn't learn to live this until this year, and that is leave if you have any sort of inkling to leave. And what I mean by that, specifically in romantic relationships, but this also applies to jobs and friendships and things like that, is that if you have the slightest urge or thought in your mind to leave a relationship, leave. If you have any doubt that that is not your person, leave because you already know, and anything else that comes after that of you forcing yourself to stay or trying to make things work is just you self-sabotaging and delaying the pain, and you're not going to get anything out of that. Pain now versus pain later is still pain. I always try to like make things work with my convenience. Like I stayed in a 3-year relationship even though I knew it wasn't the relationship for me. Mind you, this man was literally an evil Satanist man, and I have a whole episode on that if you want to hear more about it. Um, but I literally convinced myself to stay until I was stable enough to leave. And I think that's the right decision sometimes in some circumstances, but it wasn't necessarily the right decision for me. And I think I was just also so scared to leave because he had manipulated me so much, and I didn't think I could get better, but in my heart and soul, I kind of felt like I could, if that makes sense. But truthfully, there's nothing more terrifying than settling within a relationship or a job that is unfulfilling for you and wasting your life away. And then maybe one day you'll wake up and you'll be 45 and you'll be like, what did I do? Or you quit your job and get a divorce at 45 because you realize, oh shit, I made a terrible decision when I was 20 to stay with the loser bum, you know? The next thing I learned this year, which I'm sure you have heard this 1,000 times, is that embarrassment isn't real. Guys, I'm literally talking to a camera and nobody's listening. If you're here, it's some sort of miracle and divine timing, but still, I feel like I have things to share about my life and I want to put myself out there. And also, I love to talk. I love to talk. So if I can hear myself talk, I'm going to. But um, it took a lot of courage just for me to post on YouTube anyways, even though I've had a podcast for a few years now on and off, but just to stay consistent was really hard for me, especially when I was dating the loser Satanist guy, because he would constantly instill in me that like the things I'm doing are embarrassing. People are laughing at me. He doesn't want to be with a girl who does this kind of stuff. Mind you, he was making music, shit music at that. Sorry. I feel like so many times in our life, we are holding ourselves back from chasing our dreams, going after that person that we really find attractive, getting a job that we feel like we want because we're embarrassed. We're scared to put ourselves out there. We don't like rejection. We don't want other people to judge us. We don't want other people to see us. Hell, I know I don't want anybody I know to see this podcast, but yet you guys are still finding it and still telling me you watch these episodes. And it's like, it's not that scary once it happens, you know? And the truth is, even if somebody doesn't like my podcast or doesn't like what I'm posting on Instagram or on TikTok or anything, at the end of the day, they don't really care that much. Like, they might have that thought, but it's not something that is constantly parading through their brain. And if it is, there's something a lot deeper wrong with them than whatever I'm doing. And that's a them problem. But really, again, you're not the main character in anybody else's life, just your life. So it's really not that deep. And you need to take the risks and do what you want to do to fulfill yourself. Just like think back to when you were a kid and something embarrassing had happened to you and it like made you want to crawl into your bed and never leave your house ever again. That thing probably doesn't bother you anymore. Maybe you don't even remember the instance, you just remember the feeling. I know that's how I feel. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Nothing's as serious as you think. It really isn't. Nothing is that serious ever. Lesson number three I learned, and I learned this the hard way. It took me 3 years. It took me 3 years to learn this, and that is that an insecure man is a dangerous man. Okay? You probably know this. If you don't know this, I'm going to tell you. But it's so true. An insecure man is a dangerous man. So many times I feel bad for men because of their insecurities, and I feel bad because they think that they're ugly, they think that they're a loser, they think that they whatever. And that's normal. It's normal for women to have empathy, but a lot of times men will use their insecurities just to get you to put your guard down, get you to feel bad for them, get you in a more vulnerable position. And then they will cheat on you, lie to you, steal from you, break down your confidence, make you more insecure. At the end of the day, usually you end up feeling more insecure. Or if you end up getting in a relationship with this man, you will find yourself overcompensating for his insecurities. You know, you go out with your friends, all of a sudden you have to text him every 10 minutes and let him know what you guys are doing, send him videos of who's there. You end up on the phone with him while you're hanging out with your friends, and that's not fair to you. Now you're overcompensating for his insecurities when it's his responsibility to regulate himself. Again, at the beginning of this year, I was in a completely different situation. I was in a relationship with the evil Satanist for 3 years, guys. He cheated on me. He beat it on me, damn near. He kicked me out of our house multiple times, locked me out of the house in the middle of the night. He crashed my car. He would comment on my Instagram posts mean and nasty things. He would go through my following and DM people that I went to high school with just to be like, why are you following my girl? Like, what? I literally went to high school with these people. I had to unfollow everybody, every single man that I went to high school with. And I get that in our generation, it's like disrespectful to be following guys, but it's like if you went to high school with these people and there is no real connection that way other than you want to be nosy and keep up with the people you went to school with, what's wrong with that? I mean, our parents have Facebook and do the same thing. So, what really is wrong with that? Nothing, right? Insecure men are really dangerous, honestly. And honestly, that goes for even insecure women. Insecure people overall are dangerous, but even insecure women, especially if they're your friends and things like that, they will compete with you, they will gaslight you, they will sabotage your relationships, they will sabotage your career. You just need to be so careful about what kind of people you are hanging out with. And I'm not saying that if you have an insecurity, you are a dangerous person or you're a bad person. I have insecurities, obviously. Every single human being on earth has insecurities, and if they tell you they don't, they're probably lying. But I mean somebody who becomes their insecurities, because you're not your insecurities unless you let them consume you completely. I mean somebody who is beyond a person with insecurities. They are just insecure in their being. Those are the people you need to watch out for. And I found myself dating a loser who was jealous of me and competing with me for 3 years and didn't want to see me succeed and be happy with anybody else, let alone him. So, avoid that shit, guys. Seriously. The next lesson that I learned this year, which I've known, but I didn't fully live this again, and that is that female friendships are the most important friendships in your life, especially if you are a woman. Okay, now I've known this. I was raised by women. I have beautiful, long lasting friendships with women. I've been friends with women for years. I have a lot of beautiful, long lasting friendships with men too, actually. But that being said, is when my breakup came around and the few weeks and months before my breakup where things got really bad and we were long distance and he was tearing me down and he was constantly stalking my location and stalking my messages and everything he could do. I felt so insecure and down on myself. I felt like I was a bad person. I didn't know what to do. I was about to uproot my life that I wanted so bad and go move across the country to go be with him and isolate myself with him because of what he was telling me. And you know what kept me here? My female friendships, my mother, my grandmother, my friends that I had made here, even though I'm not friends with them anymore. But those three girls really instilled so much confidence in me and independence in me and gave me the strength to tell him no and that this isn't okay and to exit that relationship when I was finally able to. And I'm forever grateful for them. Female companionship feeds your soul. It feeds your spirit. It builds your creativity. It builds your confidence. Just having another girl to sit there and talk to and relate about the female experience really does wonders. But because I was blessed with such beautiful friendships, I know how much of a loss it can be when you lose a friendship or when you guys fall off or you guys are having disagreements, and I know that that can be a huge heartbreak. Honestly, losing those friendships that I had built in my time in Florida um was probably the biggest heartbreak for me that I've ever had, even worse than ending that relationship with the guy who I literally planned on marrying. And I know it sounds stupid because I'm so young and naive, but everybody around me had even like just thought like, okay, Madeline's done dating, like this is her person now. She's gonna stick with this lame. Like I fully thought that I was set up for the rest of my life with that man. Um, but that heartbreak sucked, but you know what hurt worse? Losing my girls. Losing my girls hurt 10 times worse. Since I've had so many long-term friendships, not being friends with somebody just kind of never really crossed my mind. I didn't really think that was gonna happen. You know, I thought that was something that happens in middle school, but I didn't think like great big falling outs and stuff happened like that anymore, but they do. And the next lesson is that you need to have check-ins with your girlfriends. You need to have check-ins with any of your friends often and find out where they're at. If there's things you're doing that is making them feel neglected, not loved, if there's things they're doing that is making you feel neglected and not loved, and you need to make time to seriously have heart to hearts and work on those relationships. With my two best friends, Ben and Evelyn, I love you guys so much. We we check in and we let each other know when we're doing something wrong. And then, addressing that problem, taking responsibility and not doing it again. It's one thing if you're telling somebody, "Hey, when we go out and you ignore me and hang out with all the guys and, you know, that makes me feel lonely and I don't like it." And then they do it again and 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 they do it again. Like that builds resentment. Those were just examples, but that builds resentment. But within my friendships, I thought we were smooth sailing most of the time. I thought we were smooth sailing. I was particularly closer with one of the girls than I was with the other two, and that's just how it was. But I thought we were all good. I thought we were all friends. We would all hang out constantly. But everybody's coming to me talking shit to me about other girls, and I'm over here like collecting everything. Um, and thinking, oh, nobody's talking bad about me. They're all talking to me. Well, lo and behold, they're also talking about you too, babe. They are also talking about you too. I think a lot of the drama that was happening and hurt feelings that was happening could have been avoided, and the friendships potentially could have been salvaged if we all just had a heart to heart and talked about things the way we needed to without getting defensive. I will admit, I get defensive when I feel like somebody is attacking me and my person because sometimes I feel like I'm just misunderstood. Typically, I will say always almost have good intentions, and especially with my friendships, I always 100% have good intentions with my friends. Or so when I feel like I'm being attacked, I do definitely get defensive. But if you value your friendships and you want to continue them and you want to grow with them, you need to have check ins. The next lesson kind of ties into the last one. Don't let people's false perception of you change the way you feel about you. And this ties into the last one because towards the end of my friend group and those friendships, I started hearing a lot of little rumors and lies about me. I remember I heard one of my friends tell me that her sister doesn't like me because her sister thinks I'm spoiled. Mind you, this is the richest girl I've ever met in my life. Like anything she wants, she gets at a snap of the finger. I'm not going to say her life hasn't been hard, it's been hard, but she was very spoiled by my definition of being spoiled. Okay, I guess everybody's definitions could be different, which again is like why their perception of you shouldn't have a huge influence on you because everybody's definitions and opinions are going to be different, you know? But it really hurt my feelings when I was hearing that her sister was thinking I was spoiled because I didn't know her sister. I had not encountered her sister on very many occasions at all. And so, to me, if her sister thinks I'm spoiled, that's because something she's telling her sister about me is making her think those negative thoughts about me. Or somehow she feels that way and it's being communicated to her sister that way, and her sister now thinks I'm spoiled. So, that was like apparent. And this is one of the girls who was talking the most crap about the other friends in our friend group. But I know I'm not spoiled. I know that I have worked hard to be in the position I am today. Not that I'm in any crazy position, but just to have like a healthy relationship with my family and my mom and to be able to buy myself things and I bought my car and I buy myself stuff that I want, But I know that everything I have I had to work for, and I know that my family as a family unit has also had to work for things. And I'm just going to leave it there. We've had all had to work for things. But again, like something like that really got to me, and I started thinking, am I spoiled? Or even hearing things that like they would say like I'm crazy. I'm crazy because suddenly I'm saying no. Like I'm crazy because now I'm not letting you push me around and now I'm crazy and that's their perception of me. I'm crazy because I said no. Okay. Or just whatever stories they were coming up with. And then I'm hearing about them even to this day. I'm hearing things that they're saying about me that just aren't true. And I have to come up with the strength to know those aren't true. That's not who you are. But it wasn't easy for me. And those friendships ending and hearing things about me that way definitely made me feel negative about myself. There was many nights and days I spent crying over these friendships. Like again, these were the biggest heartbreaks I had. I remember poor Chad like had to sit there and console me for hours. Actually like a whole day while I'm like just crying over like losing my friends and stuff for reasons that were not that deep and could have been avoided with mature conversation, but not everybody's there. This next lesson also pertains to friendships, and that is that you don't have to involve yourself in your friends' bad decisions, okay? This one kind of sounds stupid. I know this sounds stupid, but it was a real issue for me, and so it's probably a real issue for somebody out there. But I had a friend specifically this year who was making bad decisions in her relationship, and it was really bothering me because I had been cheated on. I have trauma with those decisions, and but I felt like I was still involved in those actions because I was her friend. I'm going out with her you know? Whatever. But at the end of the day, you don't have to involve yourself in anything you don't want to. If your friend wants to go out there and do whatever while she's in a relationship, or if your friend wants to go do drugs or whatever that you don't want to do, you don't have to do it. And you don't have to sit there and cover for her if it's taking a toll on your morals. Don't let your friends push you to do things that are taking tolls on your morals. You just don't have to. I think it's much more valuable to have a conversation with your friend about what they're doing that is making you feel that way and get out of that situation. That one was kind of short. I hope it makes sense to you. We're going to move on to lesson number 8 now. Guys, I swear we're kind of coming to the end of all these friendship lessons, but I just learned so many. I really went through so many. Like these friendships that I developed this year were so life-changing for me, and I will forever be grateful for them, and I will also forever be kind of sad that I'm not friends with those girls anymore. But the next lesson, number 8, is that you can't have unrealistic expectations for your friends, okay? I don't think I have unreal expectations for my friends typically. Um, and if I do, I haven't ever been made aware of it. So I don't really know that this is about me, but it's more so about the situations I found myself in. I have found myself in situations for years now where my friends are treating me more like romantic partners than like friends. Not like intimate, like we're not getting intimate or anything like that, but like they expect me to call them at this specific time every day and share their location, and I can't talk to these people, and I can't do this and I can't do that, and I can't wear this and I can't post this, and I I don't know, like I can't talk to this guy because they don't like him, even though it has nothing to do with any like past of them having any romantic connection just simply because they don't like him. Things like that, where it feels like they are just taking over aspects of my life. And for me, I feel like that's unrealistic and it's unfair. But you can't like expect to have that much control over your friends, you know? The good thing about being a friend is that you're just two people and you love and support each other and you see each other making decisions and I don't know, like all that kind of stuff. But like why are you controlling me? But that's a huge lesson I had to learn and moving forward, I will be having conversations if I feel like I'm finding myself in that position. But at the end of the day, every single friendship I have had like that has come to an end. People who are trying to control you are not your friends. You're their minions. You don't need to be in that friendship. Remove yourself. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. Because usually those people are the most loving people towards you. You feel like, oh my God, I've never had such a loving friend in my life. I think it's a manipulation tactic. I don't know for sure. I'm not a psychologist, a psychiatrist. I don't know. I'm not that person. But I do know that it basically feels like manipulation. And each and every friendship that I've had like that has been a terrible heartbreak. The next lesson I learned this year is that everybody's definition of love is different, obviously. For me, I feel like love is very unconditional. I will work through any problem, pretty much any problem, that I can with a person that I love. I will go to the ends of the earth for a person I love. Not everybody's that way. I loved my friends dearly. I loved my ex-boyfriend dearly. I loved a lot of people dearly, and I would have done so many things to save those relationships. But those people are not the same for me. If I make one mistake, out, gone. I've experienced that before. And so you just have to know that not everybody's like definition of love is the same as yours and it's okay. Um, People are going to have different priorities of different relationships in their lives and you could be knocked out and that's okay. That's fine. Or somebody could be loving you in a way that they feel like is love, like my ex-boyfriend, you know, bringing me home chocolate, bringing me home flowers, buying me nice things, taking me to do stuff that I want to do for him was love. And that was that. But for me, my love was, again, loving him unconditionally, wanting to support him, wanting to better our relationship, wanting to grow together, you know, reading the self-help books I needed to improve myself and hopefully learn how to handle our relationship better and heal myself. But for him, buying me a piece of chocolate was love, you know, because he wouldn't do that for anybody else. And that's okay. But you need to know that you might not always get what you give. And that's okay. Everybody's definition of love is different. And you don't have to settle for somebody or people who don't share the same definition and values around love as you. If you haven't got the notion by now, I have been a little bit of a people pleaser throughout my life. And this year, it has definitely been something that I have been working on. Um, but that brings me into my next lesson of this year is I needed to learn how to say no, and you need to learn how to say no too, especially if you are anything like me and you have any people-pleasing bone in your body, you need to learn when to say no. You cannot be a good friend, you cannot be a good girlfriend, you cannot be a good daughter if you're constantly saying yes to people and allowing people to push your boundaries and doing things when you know you need to be doing something else because somebody asked you to, you need to learn when to say no and when to prioritize yourself just so you can be a high functioning human being for yourself and for others. But you know, you can't be everything for everybody, and you certainly can't be everything for everybody if you're not prioritizing yourself at all. And I learned it the hard way. I went through many friendship burnouts this past year, again, ending that relationship, picking up shifts at my job that I did not need to be picking up, but because people had asked me to, going out on nights where I knew I needed to be staying home and filming my podcast because it's what I want to do. And I want to build a community for girls in their 20s and my age and things like that. But instead, I'm going out and partying, which is great because I do think you need to get life experiences, especially me, if I want to talk about things I'm going through and the reality of being in your 20s, I need to kind of live my 20s. There's a balance, and you don't always need to say yes, and you need to know when to say no. So, something I have been doing for the past few months is just challenging myself to say no at least once a month, or just to, you know, offer an alternative to things if I don't want to do said thing. And I have felt a lot more refreshed. I felt a lot better, and it's been very helpful. And you need to do this now because if not, you're not going to get anywhere in your life. You're going to be stuck living everybody else's life. The next lesson I've learned, I think this is lesson number 11. I have 16, guys. I have 16 lessons. I have more lessons for you, but I took notes, and this is some of the most important things I've learned this year. So I'm sharing those with you. But if you like this and you want to hear more, let me know. Comment down below. DM me on Instagram. I will talk about it. And I can also go into these lessons in greater detail and tell like the deeper stories that are attached to each of these lessons if you want me to. I'd love to do that. I love talking shit. But anyways, the next lesson, number 11, is that there is somebody out there for you. Now, obviously, we all hear this all the time. And I'm 21, so I guess you're just gonna have to take my word for it. But let me explain. When I was ending my relationship with the evil Satanist, God, I don't want to talk about him anymore. I truly didn't think there would be anybody else in this world who would spend the time to get to know me the way that he did, because he did know me very well. Um, or that anybody would ever love me the way that he would love me, because he would tell me that. He would tell me nobody would be as warm as him, nobody would smell like him. Frankly, I'm glad. Nobody would, I don't know, just know me the way that he knew me. And to me, knowing me is loving me, in a sense. And I was truly convinced of that. But the thing is the person who loves you wouldn't do the things that he had did to me, and I didn't know that for a fact. But once I had exited that relationship, I have met so many incredible guys. I'm not talking to any of them anymore, but I had met so many incredible guys, and they didn't love me, but they were better for me. And so it's like, for me, if I could meet that many people that were so great, and treated me so much better, imagine what it's gonna be like when I meet somebody who is for me. And like, even Chad treats me so well and makes me feel so loved and seen, even though we're technically not together, guys. Like, that's a whole other story. I need to give you an update on that. But I don't know, I just have so much faith that there is somebody out there for me and for you and for everybody, and you just need to open up your heart to receive that love. Again, you can't have that person come into your life while you're still staying with the same loser man, you know? Come on now. Lesson number 12 is that you need to pick the man that loves you, not the man you love. This is, again, back to my last relationship. I loved that man so much. I loved him more than I loved me. I loved him more than so many things, life itself, honestly. And that's all great and fun and dandy, but he didn't love me that way. He loved himself more. He loved everybody else more. He loved his life more, which is the way it should be, you know? You should love yourself well. The way that he felt about me didn't even compare to the way I felt about him. And it showed directly, again, because of the things he put me through. He would never admit that. And he has tried to come back multiple times and tell me that he loved me so much and how great of a person I was to him and all this stuff. But again, he only loved me because of the way I made him feel, not because he loved me for me. So yeah, but when you pick somebody who is actively loving you and loving you for you and actively trying to make you feel loved, it's a world of a difference and you can feel the difference. And I think especially with women, we love so hard and we will put ourselves on the line at times for the person we love. So that's why you need to love somebody who loves you to the same extent, even if that means you don't get to be with the guy who you always thought you were going to be with. I don't even want to be with him anymore. But, I mean, obviously for those 3 years I did, I needed to meet somebody who cared for me way more than that. So I don't know if I'm articulating myself the right way. The lesson is there, though. Pick the man that loves you and not the man you love. You get what I'm saying, right? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. I think we're on lesson 13. This one is kind of fun, and I learned this from TikTok very early on in the year, which was helpful because I was single and dating, and it is something I constantly think about. And that is that you can never fully trust a man. All you can do is enjoy your time with them. I wish I knew who said this because she literally is a saint. Um, but basically, my interpretation of that and what she had said is obviously you can trust a man. You should trust the partner or the person that you're with to some extent, a great extent, honestly, but you should never completely let your guard down, and that's okay. That's with most people because people will surprise you constantly. The best thing and the only thing you should do is make sure that you're enjoying your time with them because you're going to be spending your time with these guys, right? You're going to be going on dates, hanging out with them, having sleepovers. I don't know. They're going to meet your family. You better make sure that you're having at least fun while you're doing it. You don't need to be hanging out with the guy who you're going to marry. It's okay to date and have fun, and you should be having fun and going out and, learning who you are and learning what you want, what you don't want, but you better make sure you're having a good time doing it. Do not be miserable, like how I was miserable for 3 years with that loser. I wasn't even enjoying my time with him. I didn't trust him fully. At times I did, which really is how I got fucking fucked over the way I did. But I definitely wasn't enjoying my time. I was miserable, I was sad, I was depressed, I was beaten down, guys. So now when I'm dating people, I make sure, for one, that I never trust them fully, which is hard for me because I'm a very trusting person. I don't ever want to sit there and stress and like have trust issues, wondering what is this person going to do to me? Are they going to hurt me? Am I going to get hurt? I never want to think like that. I usually just make adjustments as things happen, and that's just how I am. It's kind of naive, but it works for me. But especially with men, it shouldn't, even if he's a good guy and he's not really doing anything wrong and you're fully trusting him and you're thinking you're going to go somewhere with him, next thing you know, you're ghosted. Like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. Even in your situationships, guys, you just need to make sure you're having a good time. If you're sitting there and you're stressing consistently over a man, you don't need to be in that situation. Just eliminate yourself. Life is too short for that shit. Go find somebody else where you're at least having fun. Because if he's not making you feel secure, I guarantee somebody else will make you feel secure. And it's probably him. It's your intuition telling you that it's not that guy. He's not that guy. I think I said I had 16 lessons, but I actually have 15. And my 15th lesson, and the most important lesson, honestly, is that rejection is redirection. This could be romantic, this could be in friendships, this could be in a job. Guys, I got fired this year from a job for false accusations. They said I was gambling. I literally wasn't gambling. I don't know how to gamble. Sports betting at that, and I certainly don't know anything about sports, so that's not what I was doing. But the managers at that job definitely do gamble on the job and sports bet on the job. So shout out to them. Anyways, I was distraught after I got fired from this job. I was like, man, like I'm a fucking loser. Um, I don't know. I was just so down on myself and I was like, this sucks. All my friends are there. Like now I'm gonna have no friends. I was so depressed and I was so sad. But at the end of the day, better things came. From my time of being unemployed, I had so much time to creatively explore my interests and better myself and really think about my goals and what I wanted out of my life because when I was working this job, I got stuck in a routine and I no longer was thinking about what I wanted next. I kind of was just like, okay, this is fine. Um, and that's okay for a period of time, but at the end of the day, that rejection, that getting fired from that job was the universe pushing me to tell me to keep going, keep searching, go get better, go do better. And I'm grateful for that. So, yeah. But again, even like whenever I was like going through like talking, there was this guy who ghosted me and I really liked this guy. I don't know if I really liked him, but he ghosted me and I really liked him. But that was him eliminating himself from my life and the universe telling me that there's better. He's not the one. Don't waste your energy on him. And it's true. Like now I can go back and I can look at that situation and say like fully that guy who ghosted me was not going to be able to provide me with the life that I wanted long term. He was just something I wanted on the way. And that's okay. That's okay. That was the universe pushing me into the right direction. Same thing with those friends, they helped me, they served their purpose during that time. But now I have deeper, better friendships that are constantly inspiring me to grow more as a person and explore myself creatively and achieve my goals and dreams. And that's great. And it sucks. Rejection sucks, but it's just the universe telling you it's not the right path for you. All right, guys. I have learned so much this year, and there's so much more I want to share with you, but I have been talking for almost an hour, and this is my second time filming this because the last one I tried to do like the dual camera setup and it just wasn't working for me. So, yeah. But anyways, if you enjoyed watching this, please let me know, comment down below, and subscribe, guys. It means a lot to me. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which isn't even that much, but it's crazy for me to even be saying I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. I didn't think I could even get there, and now I know I can, and I'm so grateful for you if you're watching this far. So, yeah. Comment down below what you want to see next, if this helped you in any way, any advice, anything like that. I literally read every single comment I get, and I appreciate it. So yeah, and then subscribe. I'll be back hopefully next Monday for Monday Scaries, hopefully with a story. Yeah. All right. Oh, and if you want to see more of me, I'll link my Instagram and my TikTok down below. Okay. Bye, guys.